And here we are, one of the most awaited planets, I think. This is Saturn, a beautiful little specimen of a planet with its wide rings and many moons shining like pebbles. Saturn is no doubt a very, very beautiful planet to look at. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system after Jupiter, uh, but it is very surprising to see that its density is actually very, very low. In fact, if you were to take a huge, huge bathtub larger than Saturn itself, then Saturn would float on it. That's because Saturn is, well, not dense at all. It's made up of mostly gas, hydrogen. However, I think there's no denying that more interesting than Saturn itself to many people are its rings. Saturn's rings are icy little things, and I'll very carefully try to insert ourselves inside them so that we can see how they are. Now, Saturn's rings may look large, but they're actually very, very thin, which is why I'm trying to slow us down as much as possible so that when we actually land inside, we can see without passing through. And hopefully, we'll land at just the right spot to be able to see them. Here we are, almost there, almost there. Let's slow down even more and even more. It looks like a highway from here. And just about there, we are right here. There we are. Did you see that? No? Ta-da! Saturn's rings. Icy and dusty rocks. Many people experience a sense of wonder when they see this at first because you don't really expect it to look like this, do you? There's rocks just hurtling around Saturn at very, very high speeds. That's why I had to pause time. If I were to let time go, this would happen. You can't even make them out. These rings orbit in very definite patterns around Saturn. There's many of these, and they're kept in line by these moons that are called shepherd moons. I'll show you one of them right now. There it is. Now this is one of my favorite shepherd moons out there actually. Pan. Now what these moons are essentially are bits of dust that weren't obliterated into the ring. These moons have carved their path into the ring, as you can see. Pan's path is right here, this line. And Pan moves along this path, making sure that no other asteroids or rocks are able to break their lines and change lanes. More like a police officer or a shepherd, as it's named. But this isn't really a great example of Saturn. Let's take a look at this. The pole of Saturn. Notice the hexagonal shape over here. This is actually a storm. It's called the Saturn polar storm. This is actually created due to the hurtling wind around the planet. The wind pushes the storm from all sides and makes sure that it never leaves its hexagonal boundary. Now, how it came into being is a very complex process, but it did, and this is the end result of it. A beautiful geometrical storm. You don't really see these kind of shapes elsewhere, do you? But as I said, Pan, the shepherd moon that we just saw, isn't actually the best example of Saturnian moons. Let me show you a great example of the Saturnian moons. The king of Saturnian moons. This, oh, this is Titan. Titan is glorious. As you can probably tell, Titan has a thick atmosphere. Very, very thick. However, since it's only so large, its pressure isn't too great as compared to Earth. Only 1.5 times. Which means you could stand here as long as you had an oxygen mask. You could stand here without any issues of being crashed or being blown apart. Titan is also special in its composition. For one, it is the second largest moon in the solar system, only behind Ganymede of Jupiter. And for two, it has oil. Not exactly petrol or diesel, but it does have oil. The oil over here is hydrocarbons, methane, octane, the thing that we burn in gas cylinders, by the way. And a lot of other hydrocarbons are present here. There's even lakes full of them. I'm not sure if we'd be able to see them though. Titan's atmosphere is so thick that if I were to land down there, I wouldn't be able to see the sun. Let's try that, shall we? Whoops, here we are. Look, can you see the sun? Oh, there it is. So nice. But it looks almost like a star, doesn't it? And today's the weather is very clear. Otherwise, you won't be able to see anything. Now, one probe has landed on Titan, and another is on its way. The probe that landed here was named Huygens probe, named after Christian Huygens, a very, very famous astronomer. Titan is very fascinating because it is about the only other object, apart from Earth, where a liquid sea stands. And that to me is very, very interesting because you'd expect a lot of places to have seas, right? But they don't. Titan and Earth seem to be the only ones currently that have any oceans or seas. Apart from Titan, there's another moon that's very interesting, in the Saturn system at least. This moon is called Rhea. Now Rhea is a very shiny object. There. In fact, Rhea is so shiny that we once actually mistook her for being a much, much larger moon than she was. She can even outshine Saturn some days. Very beautiful. But she looks just like the moon, doesn't she? And in fact, she is a lot like the moon. Icy, dusty, very reflective, and very much shaped like the moon as well. It was discovered very, very early on in the time of Galileo. Saturn in itself is a very interesting planet, and its system also makes it unique, I would say. There's no other like Saturn. If you were to look from this side, you'd see that it's actually blue. And if you were to look at a particular angle, its rings shine. Look. Now, this part is what is called the ice ring. You see, while the rocks here are made of ice and dust, the rings extend a lot outwards. What I really love about this is that it's just as beautiful as the main part of the rings, but we can't see it. To me, that represents the simple truth that in nature, a lot of the beauty is only the beauty that we see. There's a lot more happening that we just can't see and perceive. If only we were to look sideways at things, maybe we'd see something else, something even spectacular. But that is all about Saturn. Next, we'll be taking a look, at the next planet.